Okay, let's dig into this. If you're keeping track of the science around healthy aging, you know it's just exploding. But wow, there are a lot of conflicting claims out there. Today we're doing a deep dive into some of the most talked about compounds, the ones meant to extend health span that time. We feel really good, really vibrant.
Exactly. And our job today is to sift through all the noise, the hype, and focus on what the actual data says. We're looking at the sources, focusing on hard numbers, things like DNA methylation clocks, kind of the go-to for biological age and functional markers too. We want to see what holds up for senolytics, precursors, mimetics.
Right, so we've got sort of three main players on the docket today. First, the Senolytics think dasatinib, quercetin, ficitin, the cellular cleanup crew. Then there's alpha-ketoglutarate, AKG, this metabolic key player. And finally, GlyNAC, which seems to target more foundational repair. Let's start with the epigenetic clocks, because honestly, the results there seem, well, messy. So first up, Senolytics. These are designed to get rid of senescent cells, those damaged zombie cells that hang around, pump out inflammatory stuff, and basically drive aging. We already know some combinations, like dasatinib and quercetin DQ, show some real-world benefits in people. Like, they helped patients with lung fibrosis walk further in tests.
Yeah, that's really important context. You've got something that seems to improve function, makes people feel better. So the next logical step is asking, well, does it actually make them biologically younger? And this study tried to answer exactly that, using those DNA methylation clocks to see what DQ, and also DQ plus ficitin, or DQF, did to biological age.
Okay, so if the idea is reversing aging, you'd expect the clock to tick backwards, right? Or at least slow down.
You'd think so. Logically, yes. But here's where it gets tricky, especially for relying just on these clocks. That first group, taking DQ for 6 months, their epigenetic age acceleration, basically how fast they're aging relative to their actual age, it actually significantly increased at the 3-month mark.
Hang on. Increased? You mean the drugs meant to fight aging sped up aging according to this measurement, at least initially?
That's the twist, yeah. Now, it did come back down later, so by the full 6 months, there wasn't a significant change overall from the start. But the confusion didn't stop there. When they added Fisecin, the DQF combo, after those 6 months, the age acceleration measure showed a significant increase.
So 6 months of treatment, potentially quite expensive, and the main biological age marker either doesn't budge or actually goes the wrong way. That's not great news for these clocks as a simple measure, is it?
It definitely forces us to ask questions about what the clocks are truly capturing. And, we also saw big shifts in immune cells with the DQ treatment. Things like fewer naive CD4 T cells, more naive B cells, and monocytes. So the drugs are doing something significant biologically. It's just that these first-gen clocks register it in a really inconsistent, maybe even misleading way compared to the functional improvements.
Okay, so if Senolytics gave us confusing clock data, the next one, alpha-ketoglutarate, or AKG, well, the results there sound almost too good to be true.
AKG is definitely interesting. It's a natural molecule, part of the Krebs cycle, fundamental for energy, and levels do drop as we get older. The study we looked at was retrospective. It analyzed data from 42 people who are already taking a specific calcium AKG formula with some vitamins for about 7 months on average.
And the headline finding from that was just massive.
Absolutely massive. They reported a statistically significant average decrease of 8 years in biological age. That's huge. Like 8.4 years younger for men, almost 7 for women. You just don't usually see numbers like that in aging research.
8 years younger in 7 months. That sounds less like tuning things up and more like rewinding the tape. So what's the big but? What's the caveat we need to keep in mind here?
Right. Context is crucial. It was retrospective, not prospective. No placebo control group. They used saliva samples, which can be variable. And importantly, a proprietary company-developed DNA methylation clock. Now, the finding that older people saw a bigger effect is compelling, but we absolutely need rigorous placebo-controlled trials to confirm this. We can't just take this one study, impressive as the number is, as proof of age reversal just yet.
Okay, let's switch gears a bit. Moving away from the maybe confusing epigenetic clocks for a moment and looking more at the basic mechanics of aging. Things like oxidative stress, mitochondria, not working well. And this brings us to GlyNAC. It seems to target a really core kind of universal problem in aging.
That's right. GlyNAC focuses on glutathione, or GSH. It's your body's main homegrown antioxidant. In older adults, they often run low. Why? Because as we age, we get worse at making it. We lack enough of the building blocks, specifically glycine and cysteine. GlyNAC is simply a supplement providing both glycine and N-acetylcysteine, or NSC, to sort of fix that supply issue.
So the idea is fix the body's antioxidant defense, and what happens? What did that 24-week pilot trial show with just 8 older adults taking it?
The results were honestly pretty stunning in their breadth. First off, it worked. It corrected the GSH deficiency, and bang, markers for oxidative stress just plummeted. We're talking things like plasma, TBRs, F2 isoprostones, indicators of cell damage. They dropped way down from high levels.
Okay, that makes sense. Better antioxidant status, less damage. But you said broad.
Oh, yeah. It wasn't just the chemistry. They saw improvements in mitochondria, specifically how they burn fat for energy, which is vital. Inflammation markers went down: IL-6, TNFO, CRP, insulin sensitivity got better, and crucially, this translated to real-world stuff. People walked faster, had better muscle strength, more exercise capacity, even their cognition improved on tests like the MoCA.
One simple blend hits mitochondria, inflammation, metabolism, physical strength, even cognition. It's like ticking off almost the entire aging checklist.
It really seemed to, in this small pilot study at least. The range of effects was quite remarkable.
Here's the kicker, right? The dependency thing. This is maybe the most important takeaway for you, the listener, thinking about these long term.
Absolutely crucial. The trial had a washout period. They stopped the GlyNAC. And guess what? All those amazing benefits, the high GSH, low oxidative stress, better mitochondria, the strength gains, they basically declined and disappeared within just 12 weeks. It strongly suggests this isn't like a one-time fix or reset. It's about continuous maintenance. You need to keep supplying those precursors to keep the benefits going. On the plus side, though, it seemed very safe. No adverse effects reported in this trial.
Okay, speaking of maintenance, let's quickly touch on resveratrol. It got famous as something that mimics calorie restriction, DR.
Yeah, resveratrol is kind of the poster child for dietary restriction mimetics. And in mice, it really delivered on healthspan. It changed gene expression in the liver, muscle, heart, making it look more like DIR. This led to less inflammation, better artery elasticity, stronger bones. I mean, it genuinely made the mice healthier while they were alive.
Healthier, yes. But there's a big but with resveratrol when it comes to the ultimate goal for many, actually living longer.
Exactly. That research showed pretty clearly when they started resveratrol midlife in mice on a normal diet, it improved all those health markers. But it did not increase their overall lifespan. It's a really stark reminder that improving health span, the quality of those years, doesn't automatically mean extending lifespan. They aren't always the same thing.
Good point. Now, back to GlyNAC for just a second. We saw how powerful the combination of glycine and NAC was, but what about just taking NSC and acetylcysteine by itself? Does that do the trick?
Oh, we have some relevant data there. A big randomized controlled trial looked at NSC 2,400 milligrams a day for people struggling with both PTSD and alcohol use disorder. The result, pretty clear-cut. NSC alone was no better than placebo for improving symptoms of either condition. It really underlines the idea that for the broad anti-aging effects seen in the other trial, you likely need both glycine and NAC together for balanced GSH production. It's about the synergy.
Right, makes sense. And finally, before we wrap, we can't forget the basics, can we? The foundational micronutrients. Sometimes they get lost in the excitement about fancy new compounds, but they're so critical.
Oh, absolutely essential. Take magnesium. Good research links higher magnesium levels with fewer cardiovascular problems.
Yeah.
Low levels, often tied to chronic inflammation, oxidative stress, poor insulin function. Supplementing has even been shown to help lower blood pressure in people with insulin resistance. It's just fundamental biology you can't ignore.
And vitamin D. We hear about deficiency all the time.
And for good reason. About half the world might be low. It's not just for bones, though. It's crucial for absorbing calcium and magnesium. Its role in the immune system is huge. We're talking about regulating autoimmunity, suppressing allergies, fighting infections. You really need adequate levels of these foundational nutrients before you even start thinking about layering on more complex interventions. It's step one.
So let's try and pull this all together for you. It's kind of a mixed bag today, isn't it? We saw really impressive, broad functional gains from GlyNAC, tackling multiple aging pathways but requiring ongoing use. Then you've got these almost unbelievable but still preliminary age reversal claims for AKG based on clock data. And the Senolytics, well, they improve function but give really confusing signals on those epigenetic clocks, making us question what the clocks are really telling us sometimes.
Right. And the main takeaway for you has to be about critical thinking. When something like DQ improves how someone feels and functions, but their age clock briefly spikes, you have to ask, okay, what does that clock result really mean in that context? It's clear that chasing healthy aging isn't about finding one magic bullet. It looks more like a strategy involving potentially cellular cleanup and addressing these fundamental metabolic needs.
Which leads us perfectly into our final thought for you to mull over. Given that the really profound benefits from something like GlyNAC seem to vanish pretty quickly after stopping it in that pilot trial, it poses a really big question about the whole endeavor. Are we actually searching for a permanent cure or reversal for aging damage? Or is the future of meaningful health span extension actually about committing to continuous, active, lifelong maintenance of our cellular health, maybe through ongoing, personalized supplementation? Something to think about.